Welcome to the Texas Education Agency's Early Childhood Data System Pre-Kindergarten Submission webinar. The objectives of this webinar are to help you learn the early childhood reporting requirements for pre-kindergarten programs, understand the specifics of the high-quality pre-kindergarten reporting requirements for 4-year-olds, and to leverage tips and resources to help make the ECDS submission process smoother. The Early Childhood Data System, or ECDS, is a feature within the broader Texas Student Data System platform. It enables state reporting by collecting a variety of data on pre-kindergarten and kindergarten students. Submission of this data through ECDS is mandatory for all public schools and open enrollment charter schools, also known as local education agencies, or LEAs. The data provides valuable insights into early childhood education and is used to inform statewide decisions. The deadline for data submission in the ECDS system is June 27, 2024. Here are some resources and contacts for support. The Texas Web-enabled Data Standards webpage includes the data components and code tables for ECDS. The Early Learning Assessments webpage on the TEA website includes information about early childhood assessment reporting. During the submission process, should you run into any technical issues and need support, LEAs and other ESC staff should work with their ESC TSDS champions and stewards to resolve any issues. The link included here provides additional information about the TSDS champion and steward roles, as well as additional links to the regional lists of champions for each ESC. If further assistance is needed outside of the ESC TSDS champion, a TIMS ticket would need to be submitted by using a TEAL login. The email for TSDS customer support is included here for assistance with PEIMS and ECDS. Next, we'll cover the public pre-kindergarten data requirements. Reporting of pre-kindergarten program data is mandatory for all LEAs that administer a pre-kindergarten program. The program data that is collected includes demographic information, special program information, sources of funding for pre-kindergarten classes, pre-K school type code that's now reported at the section level instead of LEA level, the child care operation number, and core section data needed to determine students enrolled in LEA pre-K classes, including number of children who are eligible for free pre-K, number of half-day and full-day pre-K classes offered by LEA in campus, and class size. LEAs that have pre-kindergarten programs serving eligible 4-year-old students will also need to submit additional data. This data includes a high-quality pre-K program indicator at the student level, a direct link to their family engagement plan, their program evaluation type, their curriculum, additional pre-K teacher requirements, and student progress monitoring data for eligible 4-year-old students. On the screen, you will see the timeline for pre-kindergarten data submission to ECDS. We are now nearing the close of the window. Before the end of the school year, all LEAs should administer their end-of-the-year progress monitoring instrument to gather that end-of-the-year student progress monitoring data. The ECDS submission window will close on June 27, 2024. LEAs must validate their student, staff, course section, and assessment data, as well as resolve any special warning or fatal errors prior to their submission. Pre-K school type code is reported at the course classroom level, and new for the 23-24 school year, this code table has been updated to indicate those LEAs either partnering with an outside Head Start grantee or those LEAs who manage a Head Start program as the grantee. For this table, Code 07 has been updated and Code 12 was created. Code 07 is for those LEAs who have been awarded the federal grant to run the Head Start program in their area. An LEA would use this code to identify classrooms where there are duly enrolled students in Head Start and pre-kindergarten, and the LEA is the grantee for the Head Start program in their area. For any LEAs that have a partnership classroom with a Head Start, but another entity is the Head Start grantee, those LEAs will now use Code 12 to report these Head Start LEA partnership classrooms. the location of the classroom does not matter. This classroom could still be on the LEA campus. On the slide, you will see codes 07 and 12 have been highlighted in yellow to call attention to the update. The various types of pre-kindergarten partnerships are boxed with red on this slide and includes codes 08, 11, and 12. It is especially important for LEAs to select the correct pre-K school type code to properly identify the various classroom types at the LEA. The code 02 is used for public pre-kindergarten classrooms at the LEA with no partnerships or dual enrollment. If an LEA has partnered with a childcare provider to dually enroll students and offer a pre-kindergarten classroom, the LEA should be using code 08, which will prompt the LEA to enter the childcare operation number. With these updates, we would ask our ESEs to help us communicate with LEAs to select the appropriate pre-K school type code to represent the various types of classrooms at the LEA. With this being reported at the section level, LEAs should be able to categorize their classroom programs based on these available sections, and we hope to see improved data reporting that we can then use to further support the various types of programs at the LEA level. We will now learn more about the high-quality pre-kindergarten requirements. This will help us better understand the submission requirements for each of the high-quality pre-kindergarten components. We will briefly review the high-quality pre-K requirement before digging into the reporting details for each one. The high-quality pre-kindergarten requirements include family engagement, where LEAs develop, implement, and make available a family engagement plan. Teacher qualifications, where each teacher of record for a pre-kindergarten class serving eligible 4-year-old students must be appropriately certified, qualified, and meet an additional qualification. Program evaluation, where the LEA selects and implements appropriate methods for evaluating the district's or charter's high-quality pre-kindergarten program. Student progress monitoring, where the LEAs measure the 5 primary domains at BOI and EOI using a tool from the Commissioner's list. And finally, curriculum, where the curriculum used in a pre-kindergarten classroom serving eligible 4-year-old students must be aligned with the Texas pre-kindergarten guidelines. With these high-quality pre-K components, certain information is reported in the Early Childhood Data System submission. This includes the Family Engagement Plan link, which is a data element reported that links directly to where the Family Engagement Plan lives on a district or charter's website or directly to the plan itself. Teacher qualifications. This is a code table where LEAs report the additional teacher qualifications for each teacher of record of a pre-kindergarten classroom serving eligible 4-year-olds. Program evaluation. This is a code table where LEAs report how they evaluated their pre-kindergarten program. Student progress monitoring. This is a code table where LEAs submit BOI and EOI data from the 5 primary domains from the appropriate assessment tool from the Commissioner's list. And finally, curriculum. This is a code table where LEAs report the curricula used in the pre-kindergarten program. We will discuss these elements more in just a few slides. As you prepare for submission, it is important to ensure that all staff involved in collecting data and submitting the data have connected and have a plan in place. For example, if you are the program person who has access to the data, but not the person responsible for submitting the data, you will want to be sure to connect with this person in your agency who submits the data. Step 1 of the process is to ensure that the person submitting the data into the ECDS has access to the TEA login, also known as TEAL, and has applied for all necessary roles. Next, we will cover each high-quality pre-K indicator and provide information to support in the reporting process. For each indicator, there is a code table or data element that is found in the Texas Student Data System, or TSDS, data standards. These code tables and data elements are what would be referenced when reporting information into the ECDS. We will also provide some commonly asked questions for each of the high-quality pre-K indicators. This data element is titled Pre-K Curricula Code. The code table ID is C206. Curriculum is reported at the section or classroom level. For each section, a curriculum code must be entered. Curricula that are on the SBOE instructional materials list have their own code, as you can see here on the code table. If a curricula is being used that is not on this list, the appropriate code to use would be code 99 for Other. Please note that the requirement for curriculum to align with the current Texas Pre-Kindergarten Guideline still applies to the curriculum reported as Other. LEA should keep documentation on file to confirm alignment with the Texas Pre-Kindergarten Guidelines when reporting code 99. Here are some common question and answers we receive regarding curriculum. Question: how do we report classrooms that use both the English and Spanish curriculum? Answer: only one curricula code can be selected per section. Choose the curriculum that is most used in that classroom. Question: how do we report our curriculum if it is not listed in the code table? Answer: code 99 Other should be used for any curriculum that is not listed in the code table. Question: if we use a curriculum that is not on the SBOE instructional materials list, do we need to provide documentation of alignment to the Texas Pre-Kindergarten Guidelines? Answer: yes. It is recommended that you keep documentation on file that demonstrates alignment to the Texas Pre-Kindergarten Guidelines. Documentation is not submitted to TEA, however. The next high-quality pre-K component we will focus on is program evaluation. Program evaluation information is reported using the code table C216 Program Evaluation Type Code. When selecting a code, please ensure that your local education agency staff selects one of these three options. Code 00 if your district or charter did not complete any program evaluation. Code 01 if your district or charter used TEA's pre-kindergarten self-assessment tool, either the online version or the downloadable version. Or code 99 if your district or charter used a different program evaluation tool. Here are some commonly asked questions regarding program evaluation and their answers. Question: does completing the online version of the TEA self-assessment submit data to the ECDS? Answer: no. The online version does not submit information in TSDS to the ECDS pre-kindergarten submission. The appropriate code must still be submitted in the ECDS pre-kindergarten submission to report the tool used. Question: do all of our campuses have to complete a program evaluation? Answer: no. The program evaluation is an evaluation of the LEA's overall pre-kindergarten program. Only one program evaluation is necessary to meet the requirement. Let's dig deeper into the additional teacher qualifications requirement. It is important to note that House Bill 2729 has had some implications into the additional teacher qualifications requirements for high-quality pre-K programs. This applies to pre-kindergarten 4 classrooms, updates the additional teachers' qualifications for teachers in an LEA-provided pre-kindergarten 4 classroom, and updates the requirements for teachers in a pre-kindergarten 4 classroom provided by a contracted entity, otherwise known as partnership classrooms. Details on required teacher qualifications in LEA-provided classrooms are shown here. These include certification offered through a training center accredited by the Association Montessori Nationale or through the Montessori Accreditation Council for Teacher Education, be employed as a pre-kindergarten teacher in a school district that has ensured specific early childhood education professional development has been met, a child development associate credential, documented completion of the Texas School Ready training program, an associate or bachelorate degree in early childhood education or a related field, or at least 8 years of experience teaching in a nationally accredited child care program or a Texas Rising Star program. All of those that have been star and bolded are new components based on House Bill 2729 that was enacted by the 88th Legislature. The following slide includes additional requirements based on this House bill. For teachers in a pre-K classroom provided by an entity with which a school district contracts to provide a pre-K program, teachers must now have either at least 2 years experience of teaching in a nationally accredited child care program or Texas Rising Star program and a Child Development Associate credential or another early childhood education credential approved by the agency, have at least 2 years experience of teaching in a nationally accredited child care program or a Texas Rising Star program, and a certification offered through a training center accredited by the Association Montessori Nationale or through the Montessori Accreditation Council for Teacher Education, have been employed as a pre-kindergarten teacher in a school district that has ensured specific pre-kindergarten professional development requirements have been met, have an associate or bachelor degree in early childhood or a related field, or have at least 8 years experience of teaching in a nationally accredited child care program or Texas Rising Star program. This data element is titled the Pre-K Teacher Requirement, and the code table ID is C207. A code should be selected for each pre-kindergarten teacher. It should be noted that the code 03 should be used for teachers who have either completed the 150 hours of professional development with 75 of those in a coaching relationship, or teachers who are completing the professional development and coaching hours annually. The additional teachers' qualifications reflected on this slide and the next include the changes enacted by the House Bill 2729 in the 88th Texas Legislature, effective September 1st of 2023. On this slide, you can see the additional teacher qualifications as outlined by the House Bill 2729 for pre-kindergarten teachers in a contracted pre-kindergarten classroom. Please note that each teacher for a pre-kindergarten class provided by an entity with which a school district contracts to provide a pre-kindergarten program must be supervised by a person who meets these requirements under the Texas Education Code Section 29167B-1. For additional resources, you can go to the High Quality Pre-Kindergarten webpage and look at the Teacher Qualifications site. Here's a commonly asked question regarding pre-K teacher requirements. Question: I have a teacher completing PD hours over the summer. Can those hours count, or do the hours have to be completed by the last day of school? Answer: yes. Professional development hours taken in the summer can count towards the current school year up until the LEA submits the data in June. However, LEAs can set their own deadlines to prepare for the data submission. Let's look closer at the Family Engagement Plan requirement. This data element is titled the Family Engagement Plan link. Since there are no codes to be selected for this element, there is no code table. Instead, it is an open field where LEAs are to provide the link to the website page where the high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan is located. Please note this field is limited to 200 characters. The link submitted for the Family Engagement Plan must be a valid link. A valid link is one that goes to a web page where the Family Engagement Plan document is located or can be downloaded, goes to a Family Engagement Plan web page, or goes directly to the Family Engagement Plan document. An invalid Family Engagement Plan link is one that goes to a main district web page, links to an outdated plan, or is broken. Please remember that plans must be updated annually and be made available on the LEA website by November 1st of each year. Let's review some commonly asked Family Engagement Plan questions. Question: can our Title I Family Engagement Plan count for this plan? Answer: yes. If all the required high-quality pre-kindergarten family engagement plan components are included in the plan, it can count. This also applies to the LEAs who have a Head Start family engagement plan. Question: do all of our campuses have to create a pre-kindergarten family engagement plan? Answer: no. For purposes of this high-quality pre-kindergarten indicator, only one family engagement plan is needed for the LEA's overall pre-kindergarten program. Finally, let's review the student progress monitoring component. For the student progress monitoring component, LEAs must use a commissioner-approved tool and administer it at the beginning of the year and end of the year in all 5 required domains. An LEA may need multiple tools from the list of commissioner-approved tools to cover all domains and ensure that data is collected in the 5 required domains for all eligible 4-year-old students at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Data must be collected in health and wellness, language and communication, mathematics, emergent literacy reading, and emergent literacy writing. Please note there are progress monitoring differences for those that are 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Districts and open enrollment charters are not required to collect student progress data in standalone pre-kindergarten 3-year-old classrooms. If a district or open enrollment charter conducts student progress monitoring with its eligible 3-year-old students using an appropriate tool from the Commissioner's list, the beginning of year and end of year data should be submitted into the ECDS annually. For mixed classrooms, which is those that have 3-year-old and 4-year-old students, LEA should implement developmentally appropriate progress monitoring for their 3-year-olds. They have the discretion to adjust or exclude 3-year-olds as needed. Districts and open enrollment charters with mixed pre-kindergarten classrooms are still required to meet reporting requirements for 4-year-old students. The data element associated with student progress monitoring is titled the Assessment Title Code Table. It is code table DC154. Each tool from the Commissioner's list has its own code for Spanish and English assessments. Data for each of the 5 domains or academic subjects as you see listed at the top right must be submitted to ECDS. Please notice that some tools, such as the DAL 4 English and Spanish and the Basque 3 BES, do not provide data for all 5 domains. That means that if you are using one of these tools, another tool from the Commissioner's list should be used for the missing domains in order to submit data for all 5 required domains. Also note that you must submit 2 separate XML files, one for the beginning of the year and one for the end of the year. Issues and errors can be caused by the following: missing student unique IDs, incorrect format of student unique IDs, extra spaces in the data fields of the assessment XML files, and student parent extension XML not loaded prior to loading the assessment metadata and student assessment data into the Operational Data Store, or ODS. Now let's review some commonly asked questions and their answers regarding student progress monitoring. Question: how many files should I be uploading for my student progress monitoring data? Answer: LEA should upload 2 separate XML files, one for beginning of the year and one for the end of the year. This will ensure accurate data is reported in the Texas Public Education Information Resource, or TPIR, report for pre-kindergarten assessment results. Question: a tool from the Commissioner's list was not used. How do we submit data? Answer: a tool from the Commissioner's list is required to be used for beginning of year and end of year student progress monitoring. Assessment data can only be submitted from the tools that are on the list. However, student data should still be submitted even if assessment data cannot. The TEA Early Childhood Programs team will be contacting LEAs who did not use an approved tool to provide support in meeting the requirement for the next school year. Question: not all 5 domains were assessed at BOI and/or EOI. Do we still submit the data? Answer: yes, data should still be submitted. TEA's Early Childhood Programs team will be contacting LEAs who did not assess in all domains to provide support in meeting the requirement for the next school year. To further support you, we're going to share some resources and tools that are available to assist you through the submission process. The deadline for data submission in the ECDS system is June 27, 2024. Here are some resources and contacts for support. The Texas Web-enabled Data Standards webpage includes the data components and code tables for ECDS. The Early Learning Assessments webpage on the TEA website includes information about early childhood assessment reporting. During the submission process, should you run into any technical issues and need support, LEAs and other ESC staff should work with their ESC TSDS champions and stewards to resolve any issues. The link included here provides additional information about the TSDS champion and steward roles, as well as additional links to the regional lists of champions for each ESC. If further assistance is needed outside of the ESC TSDS champion, a TIMS ticket would need to be submitted by using a TEAL login. The email for TSDS customer support is included here for assistance with PEAMS and ECDS. Users with the appropriate roles at the LEA and ESC level have access to a variety of reports to determine how LEAs are progressing with their submission. LEAs can access reports and help articles through their TEAL login. Some of the reports that we recommend to ensure smooth closing for LEAs include the TSDS Early Childhood Assessment Pre-K Sources, TSDS Early Childhood Pre-K Data Submission Report, the TSDS Early Childhood Pre-K Completion Report, the TSDS Early Childhood Pre-K Proficiency Summary Report, and the TSDS Early Childhood Public Pre-K Missing Assessment Data Report. ESCs, typically the ECDS champion, should be able to run the high-quality pre-kindergarten component completion report. This report is a snapshot of what was submitted for the ESC region. You will see an example of this report in a few slides. Additionally, with a TEAL login, you can access knowledge-based articles and help articles. Remember, in TEAL, the functionality is based on your user role. If you have difficulty, please use one of the supports included in this presentation. Your ESCs are always going to be your first line of defense. The ECDS Data Champion has been specifically trained to assist in supporting the LEAs in their data submission process. This is an example of the high-quality pre-kindergarten components completion report. This is an ESC level report, but the ECDS Data Champion at the ESC can pull this report to view high-quality pre-kindergarten completion information. Please note that the Student Progress Monitoring component will require more digging in this report to ensure that there are assessments in every required domain, not just assessments given at BOI and EOI. To close out this webinar, here are some important reminders and tips. Remember that an assessment score of 0 should only be used if an assessment truly is a score of 0. If a student is exempt from the assessment data should not be uploaded. However, student information data should still be submitted. And last, a very important tip, please review all special warnings. The additional teacher requirement element will only generate a special warning when left blank. For this element, the system does not generate a fatal error, which means if you leave something blank and do not review the special warnings to correct the issue, the system will allow you to complete a submission that is incomplete. It is important to review the special warnings to cross-check that the information entered is correct. All other high-quality pre-kindergarten elements are at the fatal error level, which means if these items are left blank, a submission cannot be completed. Do you still find yourself needing some additional support? For policy and program-related questions, please submit an ECE support portal ticket. For technical questions related to the ECDS submission, please submit a TSDS Incident Management System, or TIMS, ticket using a TEAL login. This concludes our webinar. Thank you so much for your continued dedication, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions.